the perception of the Union Army depended on who you were. For the white residents of this town, of this area, for most of them, not all of them, the arrival of the Union Army was a disaster. But for African Americans, it was a very different thing indeed. In fact, Stafford County would experience between 1860 and 1870 a 60% drop in the population of African Americans in the county. The largest drop by far of any county in all of Virginia. And you can attribute that entirely to the long presence of the Union Army here. Everyone who wanted to go did go. And the population cratered as a result. The arrival of the Union Army, of course, ushered in a period of uncertainty, of violence, of darkness that would hang over this region for a very long time. This area was never actually within anyone's lines, per se. It wasn't under the protection of an army by any stretch. Not that the rest of Stafford County was, but the rest of Stafford County, even in its destruction, at least had some stability. But this area was always just beyond, kind of in the no man's land between armies. Not all the time. Each side came here and held it occasionally, but they would always leave, and very often the local residents were beyond the reach of either government on either side and were entirely fending for themselves. So places like Hartwood Church and Berea Church became kind of outposts, as we'll see, and Frank will talk about considerably, places of refuge where these kind of watching forces would base themselves. And almost all the destruction in this church, which was on the interior virtually total, came not so much at the hands of pillaging, looting Yankees, but of the presence of soldiers here often for weeks and months on end, seeking warmth, seeking food, whatever they could. They pulled up the floors, they pulled all the windows out, everything was virtually destroyed.
William Campbell, another New Yorker, wrote, "This place is called Hartwood Church. In this building, the man of God had preached salvation to mankind. But now how changed it is. The squirrel now leaps over the floor, and the wild bird screams over once where the choir made splendid music. This was just a mere shell of its former self." Hartwood was a perpetual crossroads of the Civil War, a perpetual crossroads in Stafford County. It was perpetually abuzz with activity, military, on a low, grinding level of intensity from guerrillas, sniping every day, punctuated by moments of absolute terror and alarm that focused literally around this sanctuary. Both sides paid for holding Hartwood Church, and Hartwood Church paid for both sides holding it.